So tell me a little bit. You lived in Queens, right? Or
Yeah,
you?
born and raised in Elmhurst, Queens.
Cool, cool, cool. So we're like brothers because I was living. I lived in Glendale.
Really? I didn't know that.
Yeah,
Oh, forget about it. Oh, so you're local.
yeah, yeah.
You know the drill. Where'd you go to school?
PS 91.
All right, where'd you go to high school?
I moved to Jersey then.
Oh, all right, there you go.
Okay, but I was born in Brooklyn at Wyckoff Heights
Okay.
Hospital, and I lived in Queens in Glendale, near Myrtle Avenue.
All right. All right.
So, you know, uh, all I remember is like stoop ball, stick ball,
Yeah, yeah. Wiffle ball.
yeah, wiffle ball, yeah,
Yeah, man. I used to play baseball for St. Mary's and all that stuff. And actually, it's when I discovered Kiss back then. When I threw the baseball mitt in the garage and then just started playing guitar.
yeah. Wow, wow, wow. Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely. We played in the schoolyard, and a home run you had to hit it over the steeple of the church.
Yeah, yeah. Oh yeah. You run like hell, slide on concrete, tear your legs up, the whole
Right?
nine yards.
Yeah, yeah, definitely, definitely. So is that where you started learning music early in your career?
Yeah, well, my brother owned the stereo, so he whatever he bought home, I was hearing. But when he first started like Elton John and Kiss and stuff
Uh,
like that, then eventually I went and bought my first Kiss records.
uh,
Actually, the night I went and bought them, I think was the night Kiss was playing Nassau Coliseum. I bought Destroyer and Rock and Roll Over, and then came home, and then next thing I know, I put on one of those fake Kiss shows where we all dressed up like idiots, all with the makeup. And there's even pictures on my Instagram of this. I did Gene Simmons. I sold tickets. We went to Baskin Robbins, got old ice cream containers to make the drum set. Did the makeup, had my mother's boots, and had cardboard guitars. And charged admission, made money. Then like a month after that, I started playing guitar. Then it became the madness ever since.
cool, cool. You remember that first guitar you had?
Yeah, the first guitar I ever had was well, I had no, actually the first acoustic guitar I have, which I still have, there's a picture of me on my Instagram on it. My brother won it in a raffle,
Uh-huh.
acoustic guitar, which now I still have, but it's in pieces. But then the first electric guitar I ever bought was a Hondo 2 Les Paul copy, which
Right.
looked like a sunburst. But then I took it home, and two of the notes were working the same. So the first string, 11th fret and 12th fret with the same fucking note. So I'm like, oh, this forget about it. So we took it back to Sam Ash, and then my
Uh-huh.
father bought me my parents, I should say, bought me an Ibanez Modern copy,
Right.
which
Yeah.
which I played for a long, long time. Then I had switched to a Les Paul, then eventually other various brands and stuff. But yeah, I still remember that. Yeah, I wish I still had it. I still have
Uh,
the acoustic, but it's in a box in pieces.
yeah. Cool, cool, cool. How about your first band? Did you have like a garage band or anything?
Holy shit, you're digging into the woods here. The first band I was playing bars at 15. I even had fake ID. My mother was so cool. She typed the fake ID up so I could get in to play the bar because my mother, was very close to my parents. And that was a band called Vision.
Right.
Yeah, and that was and I think the bass player I think has since passed away, but he became a cop. The drummer became a cop. I think he's still alive. And then the guitar player was believe it or not, Robert Balducci. He's
Wow.
like one of those shred dudes on like Vi's label. He's a good friend of mine still. He's doing that
Uh,
whole instrumental thing, and I still talk to him every now and then. But he was the other guitar player. He came in not knowing what he was doing when he first started, and I tease him about this because I'm his friend. And he came in barely playing Day Trip, and then was able to walk out shredding Freebird or something. But he's got a style all his own. But yeah, that was the first band we played a couple of times, and it was just nuts because at that point, I eventually after 2.5 years of lessons, I became a teacher because I excelled so quick. Although my teachers still played great, the two teachers I had, Vinny Magaluso and Mark Newman, and they just got, but that was my first band, I guess, going back for the long, long answer I'm giving you, would be
right.
Vision.
Cool, cool.
And then Legacy in high school, a band
Wow.
called Legacy.
Cool.
Then
Did,
Armed Forces, oh, forget about it, there's a bunch of them.
did you record any stuff on cassette or anything back then?
We just were a cover band, but the first thing I ever did that became vinyl, I would say, was a band called Armed Forces, had an EP out called Let There Be Metal.
Right.
And
Yeah.
it was popular when it came out. We were in like, Metal Forces magazine, all that. And the reviewer even said, you've discovered the metal band of the 80s and whatever. And
Right.
it was like, I'm still friends with all the guys in it, but that just came out. Then we didn't do nothing really after that. Then I joined pretty much shortly after that, I joined Warlock and did Triumph and Agony.
Wow. Wow.
And next thing I know, I was in that. Then everything else has been, nuts since then or crazy.
Cool. Cool. That means I probably got some pictures of you in Metal Forces magazine because I was
Oh
just,
yeah, there is. You can find it. There's the funny enough, right? The Dora was on the cover of the one issue, and we were featured inside. And
right.
even today, when I get written up in magazines like in Spain or whatever, they still mention I was from Armed Forces. You know,
Wow.
they still because the album's called "Let There Be Metal." You can still find it on like YouTube and all that. And I think the singers in Vegas, Scott and Mike's, I think a paramedic. He's playing some blues stuff, and the drummer was I think a retirement, but I think he retired now, Joe. Bass player Steve, I haven't talked to him in a while, but these are all good guys. I mean, we're going out. We were in the music building. We were in the music building in Jamaica. Like Anthrax was upstairs. We were down there rehearsing, and but the business was just as fucked up then as it is now. So it is what it is.
Oh, cool. Yeah, I got every issues of Metal Forces because I was the staff photographer.
Oh, okay. Well then, who was it? I forget
Got
the
the
guy who
Warlock.
wrote. Yeah, we're featured in there like twice or something.
Cool, cool, cool. Yeah, I got every issue, so I'll check it out and stuff like that. So, tell me a little bit about that N.Y.C. How you guys get together? I'm sure you've met a lot of times, you guys.
Yeah, well, this I've had N.Y.C. For a good couple of years here, and I've had different versions of it. But this version is probably like what I would consider the best version of it because once Adrenalizing Media got behind me, and that was Marcus Leake and Adrenalizing Media, they gave me the full chance to really expand on it. So then I was able to really, I produced the record, I wrote the record, and then having Stet Howland on drums, of course, he plays at Metal Church, but he plays with W.A.S.P. and Steve Unger on bass. Those guys are the rhythm section from hell. So when I had them come down, they were friends of mine because Warlock had recently toured at Metal Church. So I had come back playing with Doro and Warlock at some Doro shows for a while there, a couple of years ago. And we became great friends. So they came in, and even though I had all the songs like written out pretty much, they came in and put their style into it, and their groove. And we rehearsed for like 2 days and recorded for 2 days, like the lightning was.
Right. Yeah.
And then the album just became what it is. Have you heard the record? Have you heard it?
Yes, I have.
Cool.
Yes, I have. I'll be talking about it in a little
All
while.
right, good. I'm jumping ahead here. I'm on New York. I'm on the F train. I'm trying to get this shit done.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. So both Stet and Steve are good friends of mine. So like,
yeah, they're great guys.
Yeah, I talk to them every once in a while and stuff. And me and Stet go back to Rocklahoma days, and Steve with Where Angels Suffer.
Sure.
Tell me a little bit about Built to Destroy. You got a good amount of songs on there, so people are
Yeah, we
getting
have
their
13
money.
songs. We have 13 songs on that. Some of these songs, like are recent ones I've written. Some of them I've had in my in my crawl space for a while, and then they just then when like I said, when Adrenalizing Media came on board and got behind it because it's on through their label and management and all that, it really gave me the chance to like really take the songs apart. Then we recorded them down at Deep End Studios with Kenny Meredith, and then Robert Vosgin mastered it. He's done like Alice Cooper and Slayer and all that stuff. Right. And it just gave me the chance to really tear into the songs. Like, there's like, a lot of energy, a lot of, personal stuff on there. It just was a great freedom. It was a great release. And I hope everybody digs it when they hear it. The songs with all sides of subject, everything from the shredding thing to the anthem. But, I didn't just say, check boxes. I just did what naturally felt right to me,
Yeah. Cool. Definitely listen. That comes out November 14th.
Correct.
So make sure people check it out, and you have some videos out too.
Yeah, we have the video for Heavy as Hell and Built to Destroy already, and those were worked with Walter Schultz. He's like a VFX wizard guy. He won the Oscar for that Martin Scorsese film Hugo. He's got a couple of Emmys, all that. He did the stuff along with Marcus. He was helping direct, but Walter was really great with the stuff he did. And just he used the Unreal Engine, the UE5. They were doing stuff they usually don't do with Unreal Engine. Which is still I'm trying to figure out what all that means exactly. But I know it's like some really cool shit. And the video's been getting a great response. It's like us inside the Heaven and Hell bar, which ties into N.R.C, which is a movie and film project from Adrenalizing Media, which N.Y.C is part of. We've even like we have songs in it. I have a part in it, and there's like a whole series of stuff tied in with that. Even a comic book was written, which you can see on my page, which is part of the N.R.C comic. We premiered at Comic-Con like 2 years ago. So we're playing in the Heaven and Hell bar, which is part of the movie. So it really ties in nice. That's why you always see N.Y.C at the Heaven and Hell bar, which ties into all that, the N.R.C universe, which is really cool.
I really like that one video where looks like you guys are a toy in a blister pack.
Yeah. That's a lot
amazing. That's cool.
Yeah. That's like each of our singles has that each single needs its own like personal picture. So we had that for Heavy as Hell, Built to Destroy, and the next single coming out on November 7th, I believe it is, the week before the album comes out, Lyin Eyes will probably have the same type of feature because the pre-sale starts on Halloween, and there's one more video, and the album comes out, and then the full blitz, and we're talking to booking agents and everything else, and then so basically we're taking that toy, unwrapping it, and putting it on stage and going fucking ballistic.
Cool. Now listening to the the new release, you definitely have the diversity in each song, which it should be anyway. But I mean, otherwise, like I get a little bit of thrash metal with maybe Exodus, and then going to maybe Thor, the muscle guy of rock.
Thor, yeah. I knew the guitar player of Thor. I think he recently just passed away. Steve, he was a cool guy back in New York. I knew him.
Yeah.
So last time I saw him, he was the manager of Sam Asher. I did some clinics back in Florida.
Yeah, definitely.
Cool guy.
Cool.
Wow, I never. Well, hey, dude, I know that's all good stuff. I mean, to me, it sounds like I take everything I know, I put it in a blender, I hit puree because I'm out there screaming and barking about it. And like they've some people have summed it up like saying it's like the energy of AC/DC, the power of Priest with the grit of Motorhead.
Yeah. I mean, it's definitely
like there's an acoustic piece. There's songs that are just like you said, thrash into the fucking wall. There's other ones that are just grinding and grooving. And other ones like Anthem, and then there's other ones that just screaming my head off.
Right, yeah, definitely. Let's go to track number 2, which I thought could be an anthem too.
Twisted.
That's what I thought that song, which is Twisted. Definitely, I think that'll be a crowd pleaser.
Cool. I like that.
I definitely think so. Tell me a little bit about that track, Twisted.
Well, Twisted's about the song, I guess, like everybody, when you find the right person who matches all your values and everything, like, and like from like, when the lights are on to when the lights are off,
right?
Really happy. So if someone's is twisted or is in the direction you are, I'll let you your imagination on this, then you have that's great chemistry, so that song is kind of talking about that through there. And twisted like me, then that like you look like John Q. Public and Mr. and Mrs. The great couple in person, but then like I guess when you find the right person, it's a great feeling, I guess. So but in this case, Twisted.
Yeah, definitely. Let's go to track number 5, Lyin Eyes, which is really melodic, a big change from the first 4 tracks.
Yeah, that's basically like it's like when the truth is so obvious in front of you, but you don't see it, and everyone else sees it, but you don't, and then you realize you look in the Lyin Eyes, and then you're the last to know. Then it's the play of emotions back and forth, and then suddenly, when you come around and suddenly realize that no, this is just a lie all over again. One part of it, "I Miss You," was just written. The "I Miss You" part was written completely, but then that just kind of went into the song with it.
Right, yeah.
But it's kind of that type of emotion, which I guess a lot of people experience in their life. Then it's just a reflective song, but then it gets very angry.
Right, yeah.
No one likes to look into Lyin Eyes, I suppose.
Yeah,
but like anything, you pick yourself up, you move on, and you don't let it define you.
Right, yeah.
And if there's always another situation around the corner that could be a lot better, which I have to believe there is, and I know there is.
Right, yeah. So how'd all you guys get together? Was it you on tour or?
Warlock had done a U.S. tour together.
Right.
We toured some dates, and that went really well. Then I'd known Stet from Los Angeles from years ago. I back when he was in W.A.S.P, and Steve, I knew of course who he was, and we have many mutual friends. So then hanging out on the road for like 2-3 weeks wherever we were out there, you became friends. So then once it became time to do the record, Stet's like in Florida and Steve's up in Seattle. I had them brought into Los Angeles, and then we rehearsed, and then they knew the songs. I sent them ahead of time, and we talked about it, and they knew the parts. And these guys, the caliber of musicianship speaks for itself with them. So they came in, just tore into it. We had a lockout studio down the block, locked out, and we went in there, put all the gear in for 2 days. It might have been 3 days, but 2 days at least. We tore it apart. We had like all the songs set. One song, like for example, the song Central Park. That's an acoustic song. There's no else. And then 240, and then Gasoline is actually a song with a whole different setup as well. But for the songs they rocked on like 10 of the 13. Then it was just a whole fucking just thing was all set, and we just killed it. Then we went in and recorded and Kenny was so great. He's a great engineer to work with, Kenny Meredith, and he's like, just very easygoing and gets great sounds. And Stet said that and I'll quote him, he thinks it's one of the best albums he's ever played on. That's what he says. Right. There's video evidence of it. But yeah. So that's the long answer to your question. That's the New York answer.
Yeah. Cool. Like even like when we started talking a couple days ago and stuff like that before the interview and stuff like that, and I told you, I work for Metal Forces magazine. I photographed Warlock in 88. Yeah,
pictures.
And you go, oh, that's me, right? And then I send you some pictures. I said, that's me. You're like, I didn't know,
Yeah,
so
me. Yeah, I mean, that's a small world, man. You probably got send me those pictures. I like to see them.
I definitely will. By tomorrow, you'll have, definitely. Okay, so like you said, Central Park is instrumental, which breaks up the album a little bit. And,
it breaks it up, gives it the thing. I mean, you have Heavy as Hell. That's like the anthem on stage. Twist is a song. United is another great song. Just like doing it your own way. With the whole anthem song. I actually had a bunch of my friends sing backup on that. Even Roberta Freeman sang backup on that. She's like, she was in Guns N' Roses. She sings with Pink Floyd. Joe Cocker. She sang on the backup on that. So when you hear the high voice, that's her. And
right.
Then the next song, Tired of Smiling. That's just pretty much self-explanatory. Tired of smiling. I mean, having the phone in all the time, like, what the fuck do you want? What's going on? And and nothing's ever explained. So that song's one of my favorite. Then Let's Roll 40 Brave is actually about Flight 93, which went down on 9/11.
Right.
And if you remember, one of the famous sayings of that is when the wife was talking to her husband for the last time, kind of a serious subject for a second. The last thing she heard when he said, look, the plane's been taken over, as he put the phone down, the last thing she heard was, okay, let's roll. And that's when they went to the cockpit. And there was 40 brave people who died that day. So that song is about them. And then Central Park, that's like, obviously New York. And it's an instrumental. You got the rain, the NYPD sirens in the background. So it's like, there's a lot of work setting up all the, I can tell you, setting up the microphones in Central Park during a rain. No, I'm just kidding. It was, I tell you, that'd be fucking a trick. But no, that came out really cool. Then Fight is the next song, which is like, really self-explanatory. That's just like, that's very much an anthem. And then, you want me to keep going on all these? I'll tell you the whole fucking album.
Well, Fight was my favorite track on the album.
Oh, very cool.
So, give me a little bit of in-depth on that song.
That's a song I kind of see, I have a lot of respect for the military, you know what I'm saying? And it's very much a military type thing, like, but it could be with anything. If you talk about, friendships and relationships, people like, got your back, through the night, hold the flag, victory, fight, through the night. And just the way it all came together, because that's also like the intro piece, which is like sound music for Adrenalizing Media, and then you have a whole song. So that's just like an anthem of just like, going through it all together. Through the night and all that, side by side, a lot of the lyrics, which I'm quoting there,
Cool. And I also like Gasoline.
Gasoline.
You use some keyboards in that song, right?
Actually, that's one of my favorite songs on the record. Actually, it's totally different. That's actually Vince DiCola playing keyboard. He did the soundtrack to Rocky IV, Staying Alive, Transformers. He's like a madman. The keyboards came in. I had the song done with just acoustic and me singing. And he added that stuff in with some digital percussion and all that. And that song is actually about, I don't know if you ever saw the movie with Farrah Fawcett, Burning Bed. That's what that's about. She was it's such a traumatic story. She was a battered woman, and she just eventually had, temporary insanity as I was ruled. This guy, terrible though. I mean, beyond terrible. It's almost like, you got to invent words for what this guy did to her. She eventually had it up, and she poured gasoline on the bed when he was sleeping. And that's how it took care of it all. And, and that's what the song talks about, but it's very serious on point. And I had those lyrics for quite a while. Then that song just came together, and that's done on my, that's done acoustic and all that, but then it gets more and more builds.
Right, yeah.
Actually, that song I think will surprise a bunch of people.
Cool. And tell me a little bit about the title track.
Built to Destroy. Well, that's a song has a lot of meaning to me. That's just like, basically for, as I've described, anybody like, a lot of people get in your way, fuck with your program, so, say one thing, do another, lying, just words and bullshit. So this is like, just, you've had enough, Built to Destroy, that's it. You've had enough, you're coming through, you're dropping a building on everybody, you're doing it your way. It's just, Built to Destroy. If you keep fuck with me, made of metal, made of steel, in the figurative and also, the way it applies to music, just basically like, as if Iron Man came back to town, you know?
Right, yeah,
Pretty much
yeah,
you just said, that's it, stomp the fuck out of everybody. But everyone is alongside you who's with you. Those who are in front of you or oppose you or have delayed the game or have fucked with the program, this
right,
is the fuck yourself song. You know,
right,
this
yeah,
is it, you know, for my opinion. And then it just became, that's why the album cover, it's like me coming through the burning, destroyed city, you
right.
know, that's kind of like, it goes to that mentality.
Cool, cool. Do you guys plan on doing any shows or a tour?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, we're talking to a bunch of booking agents right now, and people, you know, we're seeing what's the best. You know, obviously with the album coming out, you know, logistics, all that. But yeah, absolutely, there'll be shows, and then
Cool.
of course, you know, we'll be barking about it all over the place.
Right, yeah. You already planning on a second album?
I have so much material backed up you wouldn't even believe, dude. I actually 17 songs ready for this record, but
Wow.
it was just not enough time. And you know, if you sit there and you try to do too much at once, you know, then you're working on it too long, too long, too long, and then you just don't get it done. Next thing you
Right.
know, you do a triple album. You know,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
you know, then so when do you eventually say, okay, turn off, pause, play, record, and go to mix mode? So you know, because I had contemplated, you know, more songs. I think about 13. That's a good solid number. You know, and the tracks speak themselves. And I love the way the record flows, has a good flow and all that. So at that point, at one point, I had to literally shift gears because you know it takes time to do it. You know, I
Oh,
mean, I
yeah,
was
yeah,
producing
yeah,
it, I wrote it, I played on it. You know, because once Stet and Steve did their tracks, and I went in and did the guitars and then the vocals because I did all the vocals on the album. You know, so pretty much. But yeah, I got plenty of material. I'm constantly coming up with riffs. I mean, my phone's full of ideas. My Tascam recorders are all loaded with shit. You know,
uh-huh.
good shit. You know, so yeah, no, I'm ready. You know, if we need to push that button, that wouldn't be a hard process.
Right, yeah, cool, cool. Anything about merchandise at all yet?
Oh yeah, we got a whole bunch. If you go to nyctheband.com, and there's
Uh,
a whole bunch. We got everything from coffee mugs to shirts to hoodies to friggin' everything. You know, sweatpants, the whole nine yards. Just check out nyctheband.com. That's got all the information. You can see a lot of the cool stuff. We got all sorts of great stuff on there, and even more coming every day. Hats, beanies, baseball hats. Pretty
uh,
much, we're sticking the logo on everything that makes sense.
cool, cool. So if you go out on tour, who's a good match to go with you? What band?
A good match. That's a good question. I think that honestly, it's a very broad answer. I think this man could fit on the bill with nearly anybody. You know,
Uh-huh.
anybody on any festival because because live, you know, we tear it up, we go for the throat. You know, I'm coming out there screaming the way I sing. You know, and then we're shredding it. We're a 3-piece. You know, so we could almost be on any bill with anybody. I think from Metallica to friggin' Kiss, anybody. I mean, shit. You know, pick a band, put me on. Let's find out.
Cool, cool. You think you would do side shows at smaller venues as a headliner?
Sure, I mean, I'll do any show that makes sense. You know what I'm saying? I
Cool.
mean, once it makes sense, is the right setup and all that. I mean, if it makes sense, logistically and with management and all that stuff, then yeah, I'm down for it. I'm not, I'm not. I'd love to play anywhere that people want to see it.
Right.
I want people to hear this because I've been waiting a long time for people to
Uh,
hear this. So I'm definitely, yeah, anything that makes sense. That's why I got a great team of people behind me now. Working with me. Like I said, Adrenalizing Media. Really tooth and nail. Then we got skateboard marketing in America. John Freeman on publicity. We got CMM in Europe. We have a lot of people. I'm dropping all the names, so get a broom and sweep all
that's
this shit.
okay. Yeah,
You know,
you
but
gotta drop them.
that, and I got a lot of great endorsements with tooth and nail behind me. We got a lot of promotion coming up. I got my own strings. Check it out.
Cool, cool.
Got
Yeah,
you want
excellent.
signature that's from Optimus Strings. They got like signature like with Brian May, Randy Bachman, and Frank Zappa, and they're big company doing me. And we're gonna have big giveaways coming up in magazines and some other
Okay.
magazines. We're doing like a bunch of my endorsers are kicking in gear, like Schecter, PV, Tascam, Electromonics, Gator, Levy's, and Morley. So I'm gonna be like Santa Claus come Christmas with a bunch of magazines. So
Cool.
I endorse a lot of companies. I'm very proud. That's my race car. This is the gear I use. And that's why if you look at the video, their logos appear in there.
Right.
That's
Yeah,
not
yeah,
by
yeah.
accident. That's because these people work closely with me, and I have a lot of respect and appreciate. I love the gear. I mean, I have a lot of companies. That's all part of the N.Y.C machine. So that's part of the race car that I built.
Right.
So
Yeah.
yeah, there'll be a lot of good promo and hype coming up and everything.
Cool, cool. Hopefully you play New Jersey. We always
Oh
get
yeah,
skipped.
that'd be
We
cool.
always get skipped over.
No, that makes sense. What part of Jersey you in exactly?
I'll go anywhere in Jersey.
All right, good enough. There you go.
Yeah,
Well, I got to get
yeah.
back east for the pizza. I'm dying over here. You know what I'm saying? Like, what is that? Yeah, I'm dying over here.
Yeah, 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 yeah. So, is there any like regiment you do before going on stage? Do you eat anything? Do you
Well,
warm up?
you can't eat too close to stage time because I move around. If anybody see me, I move around a
Right,
lot. And now that I'm singing more, so you're really pulling in your gut. I mean, obviously I get, I mean, I work out, but I also, I work out even more before I go.
right.
Treadmill, all that for a lot of wind and endurance because I'm on the floor. I'm working myself into a full lather. I'm out of my fucking mind up there. But you can't eat too close. I remember one time when Warlock was on tour in Italy, I made the mistake of eating too close to stage, and suddenly I went on like a whole plate of spaghetti. I'm like, oh my god, this isn't good. And I learned that the hard when you jump and something's like, whoa, this, you got to go throw up in the corner before
Yeah,
you see. Not good, not good. But
yeah.
no, nothing special like in that regard. I mean, other than you stretch, you make sure you hydrate. I mean, I got here's another RockEyez. Yes, for your voice. Forget
Cool.
about it.
Yeah.
Another right there. You gotta that stuff you gotta have. Then the cool mints.
Uh-huh.
We're selling it all here. No, but that's actually critical. That's
Yeah.
actually critical stuff because when you're screaming and tearing into your voice, it helps to have stuff like that on board. And
Right.
they're a great company with great stuff. All my companies, are great, but obviously, since you're talking about regimen for immediate stage,
Right.
that's the main thing.
Cool, cool, cool.
That's
So
the long answer to the question.
yeah. So tell me your best memory of being in Warlock.
Best memory of Warlock. Wow. Let's see. Well, there's a lot of them. There's ones from back in the day when we were touring with Dio, open for Dio. That was great. Because
Uh-huh.
then I got to become, open every night with Dio was just, surreal. Like one
Right.
minute where, I had joined Warlock when I was, younger, and I remember I had just been playing these bands. I remember one when playing in Germany, and suddenly there's Scorpions, there's Iron Maiden, there's Def Leppard. They're all watching the band. I'm like, I was just playing their songs in a bar like a year ago.
Right. Yeah.
And then
Yeah. Yeah.
cool. I became friends with Dio, and I nearly wound up in Dio's band. It came down, if you know this, it came down to me and Rowan Robinson.
Right.
That came down to him, but then Rowan's a fine player, no doubt about it. But
Right.
I remember Ronnie saying it came down to that like 3,000 tapes and all that stuff. So
Okay.
I guess I'm getting off track on the Warlock memory, but I guess becoming friends with Dio was a big thing. But nonetheless, it came right down to the wire with that and
Right.
all that good stuff. But other memories, I guess recently when I came back playing with Doro, doing stuff, playing at Wacken, 85 or 80,000 people. There's a picture of me on my Instagram page where I'm next to her. She's singing and I'm bent back on my knees, bent back with a pretzel, my shoulders on the floor, and
Wow.
I'm just bent in half. And
Uh-huh.
the energy of hearing everybody sing All We Are and 80,000 people sing Fiorema, that's just like, because Warlock is in my blood. There's no doubt about it. I mean, I bleed blue that way. I mean, I did all the guitars on Triumph and Agony. So, yeah, that's a great memory. And Dora used to always get on my shoulders. So at WAC, and she got on my shoulders because during the Triumph and Agony tour. So there was a lot of memories coming back. It was like, a surreal rush in a lot of ways. Then Triumph and Agony Live came out and the shows. But, I mean, I could be here for hours telling you that shit.
Right. Yeah. Wow. 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 So
But good.
what does the rest of the year look like for you guys?
Well, right now we have the next video is being put. The pre-release was on October 31st. The
Right.
pre-sales. Then the next week is the video for Lyin Eyes. That's being constructed right now. Right now we're in PR mode, all that stuff, talking to booking agents. Then the album drops on the 14th. Then there's some other serious press, that will start coming out with that as well. And then at that point, hopefully we'll have shows formulated by then. The NAMM show's coming around.
Uh-huh.
I'll be at the NAMM show, I'm sure, for some of my endorsers and stuff. I was in the PV booth. PV's part of that big giveaway as well. That part was in, because I used the whole amp was recorded PV 6505s because they're, and triple X, but mostly the 6505 because their shit, took it to another level just tone wise.
Right.
But so NAMM show's coming up, and some stuff with PV maybe, and after that then shows. Just obviously hit the ground running. That's the most important thing is that get out there in front of somebody, and that really comes down to the booking agents,
Right.
and all that. So we're literally, as we speak, this conversation going on. I can't go into who, what, where, but
Right.
If a couple of the box check and dial in, then there'll be a lot more shit to tell you about.
Cool. Cool. Monsters of Rock would be a cool show for you guys.
Sure. Yeah.
You know?
I mean, I'm down for any show that makes sense.
Right. Yeah.
I'd love to be on the bill to let people see it and get to know the band and all that stuff and get to see what it is live. And then these songs, how they translate live, because we're a three-piece.
Right.
So it'll be a cool way to see how these translate because Stet and Steve can sing backup as well because I'm be singing the leads. And then obviously it'll be great to jam these out. You know,
Yeah.
put in the extra extended shred, the extra ending. Then Stet does a great drum solo. I'll probably throw a guitar solo in, and I'm sure Steve will dial in something. He's out of his mind too in a good way.
Right. Yeah. Definitely. Well, Tommy, it was great talking to you, and I appreciate the chat. And
Oh, absolutely, Brian.
I wish you the best, man. I can't wait for other people to hear the album. And Built to Destroy, November 14th. Make sure to pick it up, pre-order it. Go to the website, check out the videos, and congratulations once again.
Thanks, man. I appreciate that, Brian.
Would you like to say anything to the fans out there?
Appreciate all you guys' support. Definitely please check this out, nyctheband.com. You can get all the links, everything I'm talking about, see the latest videos, and definitely keep your eyes open. As soon as the band plays live somewhere, we'd love to see you out there. And I can't thank you enough for taking the time to check it out. And I appreciate your support all these years. You guys rock.
Thanks a lot, Tommy. Bye-bye.
All right, man. Take care.
Later.
Thanks, bye.